Yo, what's happening guys, King GBL here, and welcome back to a brand new Fantasy Great League video. Today we're going to be trying out this brand new cup in the Great League, featuring Turtonator, Azumarill and Registeel, and at this current moment in time, I think this is the best team you can be running in this cup. However, I do anticipate a massive meta shift in the next day or two, because of the Pokemon that you're seeing on screen right now. I'm pretty sure I lose this first battle because this Pokemon is so difficult to deal with. So you would think, okay, so we've got a flat ground dragon type against a water fairy. Surely this is a great matchup. Let me just say you'd be very surprised about how well Flygon does in this matchup. And if I'm not mistaken, Henry was showcasing this team as well. Actually, let me just go have a quick look, because I haven't watched any videos yet. I need to go check to see what people have been uploading. But I do anticipate a huge meta shift. Flygon is just super annoying. And if you think about the things that are going to be doing well against what beats Flygon, namely, it's going to be like Alolan Ninetales, the ice types, which actually I did start seeing a few of towards the end of the battles. I'm sure some people realized, okay, like Flygon's just a problem. We're going to have to use Alolan Ninetales. So it may be the case where swapping the order of this team around over the coming days could be a huge benefit to you. What I found is, I was using this team this morning. I was putting Azu in the lead, with Turtonator and Reggie in the back. However, first two matches I got Reggie lead, so it's like, right, okay, I've got to switch something up here. This is clearly not going to work out. People are just using Reggie lead. I did not see a single All-Our Reggie lead for the rest of these battles. However, Turtonator was still picking up pretty good leads with things like Escavalier. As you've seen in this matchup here, Alolan Sandslash, which you beat in every shielding scenario with Turtonator, by the way. Even in the zeros, a Drill Run will knock KO, and you'll be able to incinerate them down and free. In this match right here, the opponent top left, they had an Altaria. I thought he lost that match, but obviously not. The only way you can really beat Flygon in the twos with Azu, I believe, is if you have Ice Beam, and if you've got a very, very high ranked Azu. I think you actually need the rank 1 if I heard correctly. I think Henry mentioned that earlier. Definitely a very tricky one, and you know, whenever you look at this meta on paper, you think that dragons are just basically terrible. However, it is the case in Fantasy Ultra that Giratina is super strong, and I think in the Great League it's going to be Flygon. So whenever you have one dragon that's performing quite well, you'll inevitably have a meta shift for people adjusting to Flygon and all our Pokemon, which are sort of problems. Flygon is like probably, apart from Turtonator, and perhaps maybe Haxorus, maybe Dragonair, maybe Altaria, there's not really that many like super viable dragons in this meta. So I think you're going to see a bit of a shift to Pokemon that can look to beat those a little bit more comfortably. Azu, Reggie, super strong in this cup. This is about the most BBML team that you can think of. I definitely just wanted to come in strong with this team today, try to kind of work out the meta, and just know that I've got, you know, two very strong Pokemon in Azu and Reggie, and I thought that Turtonator, having done some practice battles, would be performing quite well against the potential Lucarios, which I did not see a single one, by the way, the potential Escavaliers. I was not expecting to see Sandslash, but I was expecting to see an absolute ton of Registeel, which again, after those first two matches, I don't think I caught it in the lead at all. However, I did catch the Magnezones, and overall, Turtonator to anything that's not a Azu basically can look to put in a ton of damage. Now in this particular match, what I decided to do was give up Switch and go up 2 shields. That was definitely a mistake here because, as you can see, it was basically Escavalier double Water Fairy, ABB style team. The opponent wants to take Switch advantage, not have the Turtonator lined on their Escav, and they've basically achieved that. I ended up having to shield once, and unfortunately I don't get off the next Overheat. So we're basically screwed at this point. Tapu Fini did put in a lot of work against the Azu. I should have just shielded once or twice, taken Switch advantage, let them farm me down. You know, even if it meant I had to take a Drill Run, which you do live on the Turtonator, it would have been a lot better than this situation here. It probably still would have been close. If I went down 2 shields against the Tapu, definitely would have been quite close. I think if you see the opponent shielding the first move in that matchup, that's pretty much like a heads up, like, hey, maybe you should shield up the first surf, try to get your debuffs, and put yourself in a position where, you know, yes, maybe you'll get farmed down, but you'll get either 1 shield down or 2 shields down. I think if you get a Zap Cannon debuff, they'll probably just give up on taking Switch, try to farm down the Reggie, but hopefully at that point you're still healthy enough to get off a move, or healthy enough at least to force their energy, so I think that would have been a much better position. Now in this matchup here, the opponent's already shown 2 fairies. They've got Galarian Weezing, they've got a Granbull here, and we're going to come into Registeel. I decided to come into Reggie here. This is a little bit of an awkward matchup in the twos. If the opponent gets a debuff and goes straight crunch, if they get a crunch debuff in the twos, they actually can win this match, which is super frustrating. I think it's the case if you don't get a Zap Cannon debuff and they get the crunch debuff, they just win the matchup, which is kind of insane. But in this particular match, we're perfectly fine. We basically took the shield with the Overheat, and yeah, this is basically curtains for the Granbull. Now we've seen 2 fairies. What do you think is going to be in the back? They come in with Weezing. I decide here, okay, Reggie's probably quite good here. I'm just going to shield up the Overheat. If they go Sludge, it's whatever. And in comes the Slurpuff in the back. Slurpuff is quite an interesting Pokemon for this meta. It is an answer to all of the Flygons that we're seeing. And in the Reggie match, you don't quite win the... I don't think you win any shielding scenario. because flamethrowers just don't do enough damage, unfortunately. If you have a decent Reggie, you cannot get 2-shot by flamethrower. So basically you'll win the 0-1s with Reggie. If they have 1 shield and you've got 0, you should still be beating Slurp off. So it's quite a dominant matchup for Reggie, even with the coverage. However, it's just kind of nice coverage if you get the Reggie quite low of something else. Like in this situation, they could have taken me out with flamethrower, so Slurp off, while quite an interesting pick, I don't think it's quite getting the job done. The opponent's throwing off sludges here, presumably to see how much to do. However, it's like 15% damage. They're going to need like 6 of these to take me out, so good games well played. Guys, by the way, if you made it to this point in the video, please do me a quick favor, just tab out really quick, hit that like button, it really helps out the video. Let's go for 100 likes on this video. Subscribe to the channel, guys, it is absolutely free. The meta is going to be shifting all week, so I think, a cup that we fought is going to be very, Azure Reggie heavy for the whole time. I think the meta is going to shift. We're going to see a lot of answers to Azure and Reggie, and inevitably we're going to be seeing different Pokemon, and it's going to get back to the point where it's going to be a full circle where Azure and Reggie is going to be beating the things that are trying to beat the things that are beating. It's going to be a mess, guys. Subscribe and I'll try my best to try to keep up with this meta here. But we do have a Reggie in this matchup here. We do live a Focus Blast very comfortably here, so I think we just commit to this farm down, get the Overheat or Dragon Pulse for whatever comes back in. Focus Blast, yeah, very, very comfortable live here. I decided to swap straight out. It's Azu and it is Altaria, so this should be very, very good for us here. Altaria can make this quite awkward in the twos. However, with the Sky Attack nerf, this match is just nowhere near as close as it used to be. What I decide to do here is actually shield up this first move, which is quite, you think, like, why are you shielding up a resisted Sky Attack? I decide that if I let them get me into Hydro Pump range, this gets awkward. The Azu's got farm, so I'd rather just not do that. I'd rather shield up that move, make sure I'm out of Hydro Pump range at all times here. I'm going to let this move through. Of course, we can't double shield Sky Attack, it's a little bit crazy, but it just makes it a little bit more awkward for them to sort of have it in this position. And yep, Zap Cannon coming through. Basically, this is currents for the opponent. I'm expecting them to anticipate the snipe, because I farmed up a ton of energy with this. So I overfarm, and yeah, basically back in comes Azu. We can look to go for an Overheat, which will put them into Zap Cannon range, and that's going to be a good game. I'm at a very high ELO here. I'm at around 2800 ELO, so I'm expecting players to expect things like the snipe. The opponent was being patient, and I decided, okay, they just top left that match. I didn't mean to leave this match in, by the way, but yeah, I think that was a bit of an early top left there. I do also think if you're looking to build a team for this meta, and if you're going to top left to a Reggie, I think your team's probably not that great. Reggie's just, it's going to be everywhere. Like, it's a Pokemon that wins so many zeros, so many one-shield scenarios. It is by far the best Pokemon in this meta. So if you're instantly top lefting, like if you're safe swapping Azu, and you don't have a plan for Reggie, you're probably in trouble. And we see another Magnezone lead, and in comes Drogalge. This is a very interesting one, right? And shout out to Jai Loves Latinas. He was talking about this Pokemon quite a lot in Discord. This Pokemon is quite interesting because it knows Gong Shot, which does not KO Azu from this range. However, like, it's just so obvious that it's going to be a Gong Shot. The only way they win the ones is by baiting here, but I just don't think they're going to bait an Aqua Tail on the Azu. So I decide to go for a huge overfarm, come out with energy, look to go for a Hydro Pump on the Magnezone, and basically put them in a position to make a very tough choice. Like, if you shield this, what are you going to do? Wild Charge the Dragon, it's a very tough spot. So yeah, we go for this this move right here. The opponent is going to not let it go. I think in one of the later matches, they just basically sacked the Magnezone. They're going to go for a Mirror Shot here. They get a slight farm down, which is quite annoying. I didn't want to bring in Reggie, because this thing actually can beat Reggie. And at this point, I'm like, okay, Wild Charge me, big boy. Doesn't do that much damage. Wild Charge coming through, does quite a lot, but not threatening the health here. And I decide, you know what, we're here now, we might as well shield it, farm it the whole way down. In comes Azu, and in comes Reggie. In the 1-0s, we should still be winning this, especially if we get a debuff. No matter what, we're going to land a Zap Cannon there. There's no way to avoid it as Azu, unless I completely overfarm to 1000 energy. One Overheat after Zap Cannoning will take it out. Overheat is about, I want to say 30% to the Azu. Now here's a very awkward match for me. My IVs are trash on this Pokemon. I don't win CMP, I don't have any good bulk points or anything, so I decided to play at the zeros. I didn't know if I lived that move or not, but I'm like, surely I live one move, surely. And that was the case there. So if you do have a bad Turtonator that loses CMP, you probably just let the move go and play it like this. Yeah, Overheat. They actually dump energy and then go to Azu. That's definitely not the play. You should just bank the energy and go Azu. Now we're in a pretty decent position because the opponent's dumped all their energy. They've got a very negative matchup here. And they go Play Rough. I was going to shield the first move, thinking it's probably the pump, but the opponent is on Play Rough here, so this is definitely very, very tough for them. They should just be letting these moves go. And they give me license here to basically go for a Focus Blast farm down as well. Now at this point in the match, what I'm thinking is, we go for Focus Blast, we go for the lock on down, and also I'm thinking, do we need to preserve Reggie? They've safe swapped Azu, which is a good, Reggie draw out, right? Could there be something else in the back that's weak to Reggie? They go for the aggro swap back into Turtonator, and we're just going to YOLO the Hydro Pump. The opponent cannot really afford to shield this. Boom, goodbye. I don't think a player off would have quite taken it out. And it's actually a Slurpuff in the back. Very, very interesting. I'm not messing about here. I'm going straight for the Hydro Pump. I think I probably live an Energy Ball. It's very close. We do live it. And this one Hydro Pump here will do a lot of damage. If they put in shields, they get Zap Cannoned. They're between a rock and a hard place, so they have to let that go. And we're basically winning at this point. This is very close. We've got very, very little health. So this can get a little bit tricky. So what I basically decide here is we're going to throw the move. See if the opponent wants to give up their final shield. And what I'll look to do is try to basically lock on down this. Throw a move on Azu, and that should be basically game over. I'm going to shield up this move, of course. I have no option but to shield it here. The opponent is on play rough, so hopefully we can live a move. If they get to the one, they do get to the move. Do we live this move? Is Reggie thick enough? It is just about thick enough, and we lock on it down on 1 HP. We're going to go for Focus Blast here. Could have went for LR move. The opponent is in range for LR move, and that's good games well played. The opponent definitely made that very, very close, and they made it super tricky for me. And after going 1-4 my first set, I go 5-0 in the second one. I was super, super happy, man. Like, I was having a very bad feeling at the start of this. On the day, guys, by the way, I went 14 out of 25. So very, very positive day, you know, considering we're just looking to, you know, dissect the meta, try to see what things are doing out here. Getting a positive day on the first day of a brand new meta where things are all over the place, you can't really beat that. And I do think this team will get you a positive day if you're looking just to have a very good first positive day. Like I said, if you're playing this tomorrow, I think people are going to be adapting to Flygon, which, you know, it'll be tricky. I would say with this meta, just sort of try to play it day by day, see what people are doing. Of course, you know, you have the algorithms, so like you're just going to see whatever you're going to see. Like, that is a thing, especially at lower ELOs, you just see absolute crap, right? So like, I would say if you're at sort of higher ELOs, that's where you really have to look for the meta shifts. I think if you're at lower ELOs, the key to success and the key to getting into the sort of higher ELOs, or trying to like look at the meta adjustments actually makes sense. I think the key is to use a strong, consistent team, get yourself out of the pits, you know, where all of the random teams are everywhere, and try to get into an ELO where you will have to try and sort of read the meta and try to see where things are changing. And at that point, try to basically take it day by day from there. In comes Azu, they're going to go for Hydro Pump. I think we live 2 Hydro Pumps here if we get the debuff. We comfortably do. I think actually we just live 2 Hydro Pumps, period. But it's not very comfortable if you don't get the debuff in the first one. I'm going to go for Zap Cannon just in case the opponent wants to shield. I've seen opponents trying to take swap here, and I would love to get another debuff. I do get the debuff, but I think here, okay, I made this mistake already. I've given up swap here before on this matchup against the Tapu Fini and ended up losing. I'm just going to keep alignment. We're in the 1-to-1s. I'm probably in a position where I can still get off a move with Reggie, so I'm like, right, whatever, this is perfectly fine. They come back in with the Magnezone. The opponent's going to be forced to throw energy. I decide they're probably weak to it in the back, so I store that energy, and in comes the Flygon. Now, seeing this Flygon in this position is nowhere near as bad as it usually is. The opponent goes straight for the move on 4, by the way. They should have at least built up to the Scorching Sands. I can live a Dragon Claw, and they certainly cannot live a Dragon Pulse from Turtonator. These Incinerates are absolutely chunking for it. And I decide here, okay, we're going to come in with Azu to start absorbing damage. We have a ton of energy on Reggie still, and they go for a Dragon Claw bait. That's actually insane. That's a horrible bait, to be honest with you. That is a horrible bait. Because, like, look, we comfortably live that move. Like, it's going to take them 2 moves. I'm going to come in with Reggie. I decide to shield up here. We just basically look to get rid of this thing. Mirror Shot, kind of annoying. I should have let myself get lower here. This is my mistake in this matchup. I should have taken a couple more Volt Switches. But to be honest with you guys, I was just completely off track in energy. That was a huge mistake. I needed to take more Volt Switches there. And the opponent, as you're about to see here, is actually going to get the win in this matchup. Let's do a little bit of a replay and like analyze what went wrong there. So in this position, right, we're in a very good spot. The opponent can die to any one move, and we can more or less farm it down. They go for a very bad bait here. We still have a shield. So we're looking to be in a great position here, right? The Magnezone is definitely going to get to a move no matter what. They come in with their Magnezone, and they end up going for the move straight away. It does end up being the Mirror Shot, but if you look at this, right, I did not take that Volt Switch. I should have, I was thinking at the time, I need to take that Volt Switch. So I should, like, they're not going to be 2 moves, right? I was just panicking. So if I had to just let them get me lower, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, I think they got 6 Mudshots for him. Something like that, which just basically puts them in the perfect amount of energy to take me out. So definitely could have won that match. I think that's something that you have to recognize. Whenever you've got 1 Pokemon left, giving them the farm down is a huge lose con. And hopefully you guys can learn something from that. In this match, we have the Azu. What I've noticed is, if I come into my own Azu, they kind of just stay around here for a while. They don't typically have a great Azu answer. Like, Azu is their Azu answer for some reason. Not too sure what this team is, but we're going to go for the player off here. We're behind by 1 bubble. And I think if I play this out to the death, it basically comes down to, like, them bubbling me down. Or probably actually me bubbling them down a little bit sooner. But what I realize here, you know, when I'm playing this out the first time is, they don't have an Azu answer. My switch clock is coming back. They're going to throw the move, because if they don't, they're going to play it to a CMP, so they have to throw the move here. So at this point, like, Reggie's my Azu answer, but the Azu's gone at this point, so I might as well bring it back in here, and in comes Turtonator. Now, the thing I decide to do here is, right, like, okay, if you want to overheat me, that's perfectly fine. You're going to lower your attack. I'm cool with that. The opponent actually goes for a Flamethrower, so we're able to get off a move. Now, arguably I could have went for a bait here, but I just wanted to guarantee the damage. Yep, boom. The opponent lets that through, and it puts it in a position where Azu can look to deal with it here. We go for one and throw. Not the most optimal timing, but of course we just want to get this move off as soon as possible, and the opponent lets that go. So that's looking a little bit better, and in comes Flygon, guys. This is game over for me. Flygon with 2 shields against my Turtonator, it's game over. I'm just hoping, like, please bait me. My win con's for them to go for Dragon Claw and for me to get off the move. They don't bait. I'm like, okay, go for the Dragon Claw. It's not even a win con, but just go for it. Yep, just game over. So rough. Flygon, super, super rough for this team. And like I mentioned, you're going to see people just trying to counter that, because it's a huge problem for the Reggie Azu core. The opponent swaps straight into Flygon this time, right? So this situation with Flygon is a lot more comfortable. The match does not depend on this matchup anymore. If it's in a position where you catch it at the end and they're sweeping with it, it's just so super rough, like. And if it's non-shadow, it's nowhere near as scary, because you comfortably live them 2 moves, and you comfortably get off your 2 player offs here. So this situation's nowhere near as bad, because we're basically putting them in a spot where we can look to, like, deal with it with Turtonator. I think I just decided to let this go, hoping they go for the bait. They don't. And, you know, we've got this down to like 40% health, so what I decide to do, remember for Reggie, just eat a move. If they want to go down 2 shields, that's perfectly fine by me. We'll eat the Scorching Sands. This is not going to do that much damage. It does a lot. Like on pretty attack weighted, it does a lot of damage still, but it is comfortable enough live for Reggie. And we're hoping we can basically sweep up a shield with this thing. The opponent, wait, did they come into Magnezone for a second there, or what happened? The opponent tried to peekaboo. I was nowhere close to the move. I did not notice that. I'm only noticing that watching it back. And the opponent's about to get off a move here. I'm like, you know what, bro? No. Just no. Just no, dude. We're going to go for the Zapparoo here, which will get them into farm down range for the Turtonator. I decide here, come in Turtonator. Any move from this thing is going to hurt more than the move from the Magnezone. So I might as well shield this move up. And the opponents lock themselves in. They're finally back. They catch the Dragon Pulse. But you're about to see this Pulsey Wolsey absolutely wrecks them after getting an Incinerate through. And this is basically game over. I think we even live a Hydro Pump from... Actually, not a Hydro Pump. We do live an Ice Beam or Play Rough from this range, so we're basically winning no matter what there. Good games. And another Magnezone lead. This is what we love to see. Like I said, I had a couple of rough sets today. I had a 1-4 to start off the day. Had a 2-3. But we made the slight adjustment. We put the Turtonator in the lead, and it did work out a lot better. Hydro Pump coming through an Azu. I think arguably it's a good idea to, if you get a really positive lead, like if it's a Sand Slash or something that cannot stay in against Turtonator, before launching your Incinerate, just watch the top right for a second, like wait a turn, because if Incinerate's going to do a ton of damage to them, they're going to swap instantly. They don't want to take the moves, right? So you probably just wait a turn, look at the top right, try to not allow the opponent to get to 2 Hydro Pumps, because as you see, like this gets awkward now. So yeah, kind of annoying. The opponent's going to go for another Play Rough. I decide, like, I can't really go down 2 shields here. The opponent's made this very awkward for me. We're going to go for Focus Blast. If the opponent wants to shield this is perfectly fine. We'll look to basically overheat everything. Hopefully that's like their only answer. Yep, they come for the farm down with Magnezone, which makes perfect sense. And in comes a Flygon. So what I decide to do on this occasion, and I think what you should try to do against a Flygon safe swap, guys, this is absolutely vital information here. If you win lead and the opponent safe swaps Flygon, right? Do not insta-swap Azu. Go for the chip first. Make the match much more easy for Azu. Azu beats it in the 0s, beats it in the 1s, right? Chip it first with your Turtonator. I didn't necessarily have to do it there in that match, but I just wanted to make it comfortable. Get off the move with Turtonator, trade a shield if you need to, and then come in Azu in a lower shielding scenario. Much more comfortable. We get off a Play Rough here. Completely unnecessary, doesn't matter. The opponent cannot one-shot me with any one move here. And yeah, as you see, this next move is going to take them out. I'm like, yeah, mirror shot me, big boy. They did go for the Wild Charge, and I think they do go for the mirror shot here. But of course, this is perfectly safe and good games well played. Mirror shot coming through. Of course, we're going to shield it up. Doesn't matter what it is. So yeah, that's basically your sort of win con against the Flygon safe swap teams. If they come into it immediately, you basically just want to go for the move first and then make it a lot more comfortable. Sunfisk lead and the opponent comes into a Tapu Fini. I come into Reggie and I decide here, okay, we're going to play it by ear here. We're going to see what the opponent wants to do. They're going to go for the Surf here. They're waving at me as they're throwing the move. I'm going to wave back with my Reggie and fire off the Zap Cannon. And we'll basically see what the opponent wants to do. They're probably going to come back in with Stunfisk. Yeah. So let that through and come back in with Stunfisk. Now, what I decide to do before I throw the move is get an overfarm. The opponent comes into Stunfisk here. We go for the Foky B. So the reason that Stunfisk beats Registeel is that they pace to the moves pretty much at the same time, right? but Stunfisk wins CMP, so if you can get a couple of lock-ons advantage, you win this matchup. And I realize that they're probably weak to this in the back. They come in with the Penguin of Death. The Penguin of Death. This is basically chill at this point. I'm gonna go for the Zapparoo, grab the shield, and come into Azu. This is kind of an annoying Pokemon. I thought this was going to be a lot worse than it actually turned out to be. The opponent goes for Drill Peck. That does absolutely nothing. So at this point, I'm like, okay, I just win. Thank God. When I seen this Penguin, I thought, oh no. They resist all my moves. Hydro Pump coming through, that does a ton of damage. I realized at this point we just win, because actually Turtonator's not even that bad into this. It's just neutral moves. Empoleon is quite glassy, and Incinerate is neutral as well. In comes the Dream Lead, Alolan Sandslash, and in comes the Flygon. Once again, guys, look what I did not do there. What did I not do there? What did I just say? What did I just say? Stay in, play out the ones with Turtonator, right? And then come in and play the ones with Azu. Literally not listening to myself. And like, I realized this, you know, like sort of mid-battle in a few of the battles that I was playing. If you ever get that situation, you have to do that. Because look what's happening here, guys. Look what's happening. They're taking swap against me. I realized like, oh my god, bro. I need to shield this. I need to at least get them low. This is so rough. And, you know, if they farm me down with Slash, this is super awkward. The opponent will get an overfarm, of course. It takes us 21 turns to get to this. So they can basically throw 10 Shadow Claws and go for this. Super awkward, right? So, yep, Ice Punch coming through. I'm like, oh no. This is so bad. I decided to come in and go for the Incinerate. They come in with Azu, and they come in for Reggie. So I'm thinking, right, okay. There is a glimmer of hope remaining. Reggie can force energy off Sandslash. If I get an appropriate farm down here, if I get the Zap Cannon debuff, live the second Hydro Pump, get a bit of a farm down, look to force energy from the Sandslash, we could be in a good position. We get the debuff. Absolutely huge here. We're going to look to go for the Focus Blast, just as they're getting to the Hydro Pump. I decided to just fully charge this. That does take them out. And basically here, Sandslash cannot farm us the whole way down. Now this basically comes down to, can Sandslash look to take out the Turtonator? We have been chipped a little bit already. Can we live this move? That one Incinerate that goes through will kill them. Will this take us out? We see the pop-up in the bottom right. We live it on a sliver of HP. Good games well played. Spoilers in the bottom right. And in this matchup here, no spoilers, but we get a Magnezone lead. Basically the best thing you could possibly ask for. They safe swap Azu. I do not think that's a good safe swap, guys. I'm going to be real. In any meta that I've ever played, I've never known Azu to be a good safe swap. And I think this is no exception. It just gets wrecked so handily. Hydro Pump coming through, cool. We'll see if the opponent wants to fight for switch here. I can certainly look to overfarm a little bit here. I do make a slight mistake here. I let them get off the player off. If you're in this situation, throw the move before they get to the player off, because they can commit to the farm down now if they want to. It would be very close. I might get to 2 Focus Blasts. Do I actually get to it? I don't. It's a bit of a mistake there. Potentially making this match a little bit harder than it needs to be. The one thing I do realize here is, right, okay, we're going to get a massive bubble down here. We're going to go for a 1-and-4 in the Magnezone. If they want to shield the Hydro Pump and go down 2 shields, and have to deal with 2 shield Turtonator with Overheat, fine by me. I don't think there's anything that beats 2 shield Turtonator here. So I'm like, fine, we're going to go for Hydro Pump. We'll farm the Azu the whole way down, resisted farm down, and we'll look to go for the big Hydro Pump. The opponent lets it through, and they insta-swap into Alolan Ninetales. This opponent certainly has been seeing enough Flygons that they think Ninetales is necessary, but they are ABA weak to fire, and Turtonator is just going to cook the rest of this team, guys. Farm it the whole way down. The opponent realizes the writing is on the wall. The opponent turns around, have a look at the wall, and the writing is on it. 4-1 to finish out. Super happy with that. We finished the day 14 and 25 in this brand new meta. And we finished off the day here on 28-25 ELO. Bit of a climb. I was, I think that's a 50-point climb roughly. Done quite well today. As you can see here, here's the matches. But thank you very much everybody for watching. Hope you did enjoy the video. If you did, please subscribe, drop a like in the video. It's all very much appreciated. If you're running any interesting teams in this comp, feel free to send them in quite early this week. Don't be leaving it till the last day. Send them in quite early. And feel free to join our Discord community if you want to check out my streams when I'm playing, or just hang out with our community. Thank you very much everybody, and have a fantastic rest of your day.